Hello, my name is Nathan Eisminker, and today I'm going to be going over ecosystem models with you. Ecosystem modeling is a vital step in the early stages of customer discovery. Building an ecosystem model will help you both identify customers and organize them according to segmentation. So when we talk about customers for our products, we're emphasized to you that customers are people. Ultimately, a person needs to take action to buy your product. We also know that this person operates within a broader set of circumstances. They have a role in an organization. It could be large, it could be small, but this organization is competing within an industry sector. Now, all of the people that interact within the context of the buying customer could potentially have some stake in the purchasing process. They're what we would call stakeholders. This group of interconnected stakeholders is what we refer to as the ecosystem, within which decision makers and users function, and this context will influence purchasing decisions. Just like an environmental ecosystem, some influences are small, some are very big, but they're interconnected. If I'm in the market, for example, for a new family pickup truck, I'm not going to make this decision alone. The context or system within which I'm making my decision includes my spouse or significant other, my kids, my friends, perhaps even my banker might have something to say about my ability to buy the pickup truck. All of these potential stakeholders are going to play some role in my decision. To explore this concept a bit further, let's define, in your own words, what is an ecosystem? Well, we have some definitions for it. So there's the biological context, but we also refer to some ecosystems outside of biology. For example, there are economic ecosystems, social ecosystems. I learned upon getting here in North Dakota that there's a very robust aviation ecosystem. And I suppose you all are part of the North Dakota entrepreneurial ecosystem, right? So ecosystems could be many different interconnected stakeholders interacting as a system. So now we want to drill down and think about our industry ecosystem. How can we define what an industry is? An industry is the community of activities, usually an organization, that supports a market. So what we're talking about with the industry ecosystem is the community within which people are interacting and working together through processes that support a market. Those interactions foster the flow of information and resources that ultimately produce value for the customer. Those interactions also greatly influence how decisions are made. So as we map our ecosystem, we need to identify all stakeholders and then drill down to find the stakeholders that matter to your solution. Ask yourself, do you understand how your stakeholders interact? Who is your customer? Who is your customer's customer? Do you understand how and where things have to change to adopt the solution that you're offering? What are you missing? What blind spots might you have? Who are the suppliers? Who are the distributors? Are there complementary products? Who are the investors? Who are the funders? This slide here is an example of one ecosystem model where there's interactions within this system where you've got orange lines showing the exchange of information, blue exchanging product, and then green showing the exchange of cash with the different stakeholders here in a protective headgear for fire hyders with a heads-up display example. As you start to understand and map your industry sector, we also want you to think about and consider the stakeholder roles and the interactions between not just the entities and people. We also want you to learn about and map how the money, the material, and the information flow between the people and the entities based on their role in the ecosystem. You see there are different roles. You've got the end user, you've got the buyer, the payer, and consider also that not everyone is going to be on your side. A saboteur is also a stakeholder, and they're a stakeholder that stands to lose something from your solution. Saboteurs are not always direct competitors. As an example, think about electric vehicles and what stakeholders stand to lose out from their adoption. A saboteur in that case could be a stakeholder in the fossil fuel industry or a stakeholder in the manufacturing of the internal combustion engine. Think hard about what saboteurs potentially exist in your ecosystem if your solution is adopted. Here's one example, another one, of an ecosystem map from a previous team. Notice how they use color-coded Post-it notes to represent different roles played within the ecosystem. Solid lines are drawn to show interactions, and dotted lines are drawn to show physical transfers. As you build your map, you should also customize it to make the most sense for the context and industry within which you operate. So now we're going to build your model in a workshop. You're going to use this framework to get started. So, when you get started, it starts more as an art than a science. So be creative with it. Represent the ecosystem as you understand it. You're going to use this ecosystem map to identify what you know, what do we need to know, who do we need to talk to next. So as you build your ecosystem model, you're going to describe the roles of the stakeholders in your customer as ecosystem as you currently understand them, and that's going to help you identify who you need to target for interviews. So here is what the blank slate looks like. So you can have color-coded, you can have color-coded tiles here. You've got the exchange of decisions, information, money, or other, and then there are roles that you can attach the stakeholder roles to the stakeholders as you flesh it out. So for step one, brainstorm, just start. Brainstorm 5 different stakeholders in your customer ecosystem. As a hint, as a starting point, who are potential customers? What are their titles? Who is their boss? Who is their subordinate? Who might they get help from? As an example here, manufacturing engineering, manager, purchasing manager, systems engineer, or some other company, just to get you started. Step 2, brainstorm 5 additional stakeholders. Who else is in the environment? Are there regulations or policy organizations? Who makes decisions? Who's in the supply chain, for example? Who are the buyers? Who are the payers? As you start to get this down on paper, and as you get 10, then start to figure out how do they connect. You see, we've started to attach here to define the relationships and organize the ecosystem according to the exchange of money, the exchange of decisions, and the stakeholder roles have been attached now. So this is start with your customers. Brainstorm the stakeholders from supply chain distributors, regulators, influencers, competitors, investors, saboteurs. Guess at relationships among the stakeholders if you have to. This is the brainstorming portion of this. You're throwing spaghetti at the wall to see what sticks, right? You're going to focus on value flow, the money, materials, and information, and then see if you can identify decision points. Move things around using the Post-it notes within the PowerPoint slides. If you need some help getting some some brainstorming going, use these questions, simple questions to ask. Who uses your product? Who influences its use, and etc. And that concludes my briefing.